I crossed my arms. Embarrassing? You stole from me. You should be embarrassed, not me. She switched tactics. S is really struggling, you know. She's always had a hard time. She needs this wedding to be perfect. She doesn't have what you have. Can't you just help her, just this once? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. This isn't about helping her, Mom. You two took my money behind my back. There's no coming back from that. She left in a huff after that, but they weren't done. The next day, my aunt called, saying I was tearing the family apart and that I should just let it go because S only gets one wedding. I wasn't budging. I'd had enough of being guilt-tripped. Weeks passed, and the court date finally arrived. S and Mom showed up looking polished, trying to play the victims. S even cried a little when she talked about how important the wedding was to her. But none of it mattered. I had the evidence, the bank statements, the unauthorized transfer. It was open and shut. The judge didn't take long to rule in my favor. They were ordered to pay me back every cent. I thought I'd feel a rush of victory, but really, I just felt tired. They had tried to manipulate me, guilt-trip me, blackmail me into dropping the case, and in the end, they still thought they were the victims. After the court ruling, they went radio silent for weeks. No calls, no texts. I guess they were hoping I'd cool down and let things go back to normal. Then, out of nowhere, my mom called me one day. I let it go to voicemail. When I finally listened, it was the same old line, "I'm sorry if you felt hurt, but you have to understand why we did what we did." She added, "You're doing well, and your sister needed help. Family is supposed to help each other. No apology for stealing from me, no taking responsibility, just more manipulation." They didn't care about what they did, they just wanted everything to go back to the way it was before. I didn't bother calling her back. What was the point? They were never going to see what they did was wrong. They just didn't care, and I wasn't about to spend the rest of my life pretending like everything was fine. After the court case, it was crystal clear that my mom and S would never take responsibility for what they did. To them, I was the villain for making a big deal out of just some money. Weeks turned into months, and during that time, I finally managed to get my finances back in order. The court had ordered S and Mom to pay me back, but it was slow. My lawyer warned me it might take a while for them to actually come up with the money, and sure enough, they dragged their feet. They probably thought if they made the process annoying enough, I'd eventually just drop it. But I didn't. I kept every receipt, every record, and stayed on top of it like my life depended on it. The whole thing wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about the betrayal, about how they saw me as nothing more than a cash machine to fund S's dream life. Every time I got a notice of a partial payment, I was reminded that it wasn't just the cash they stole, it was my trust. About 6 months after the court ruling, I got another voicemail from my mom. This one wasn't calm or manipulative like the last one. No, this time she was angry. "Are you happy now?" She started, her voice shaking. "Your sister is miserable. She doesn't talk to me anymore because of the stress you caused with this lawsuit. You've broken this family. I hope you're proud of yourself. You chose money over your family." I remember sitting there, listening to the voicemail and just laughing. Not because it was funny, but because it was so pathetic. Even after everything, they still couldn't see what they'd done. I hadn't chosen money over family, they had. They made that choice the moment they decided that S's wedding was more important than my future. I never